Maybe you're in traffic right now, or maybe you're taking care of some type of errand that you're running. Maybe you're at work. Wherever you're at, I hope you're having a great day. And if you're not, well, we're gonna make it better. And if you are, well, then we're gonna keep it that way. That's how it is here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your patience. You know, you can't, the timing sometimes of a loved one's phone call is sometimes, you know, right up against it, and you know, and that's okay. So, shout out to my brother out there, Mr. Johnny, and shout out to Aaron, and shout out to my wonderful and beautiful nieces and nephews. Shout out to Noah, my fighter, my real life Spider-Man, and shout out to Ariana, as well as Sequoia and Dakota, and of course the dogs and any other children that Johnny has adopted since the last time we spoke a couple minutes ago. So with that being said, welcome to the show today. I'm so happy to have you all here inside the Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here for you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. And we have plenty of show coming up for you today. You have no idea how awesome today is going to be, because God made this day for you. It's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting, and we're going to have a great time. So, a lot of great stuff coming up today. It is Syracuse Week 1 for football. Do you believe it? I don't believe it. Do you believe it? I don't know. So, we are in Week 1. It's here. It's real. Get used to it. It's happening. Week 1 of football is upon us. For the collegiate football season, Syracuse is fully in game week. And I'm ecstatic that today, in game week, and all throughout the week, I will be sharing with you video and audio Q&As with Syracuse head coach Dino Babers and I, as well as myself with a bunch of the Syracuse players. Today you'll hear from a trio of them. Those players will include Airon Servais, Mikel Jones, and Marlowe Wax. Mikel and Marlowe, both linebackers of the team, and, of course, Mr. Airon Servais has played almost every position on the offensive line. He's played left tackle, right tackle, as well as center. So, they'll all be joining me here today to speak on heading off into the season and their thoughts and a little bit of everything. So, I'm very excited for what's coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Once again, you're watching on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. You're listening on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com, and you're watching on facebook.com/livenowdt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connected with the show, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can also grab us in the archives, and there are over 1,500 shows located in the archives just on Podbean alone. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Podbean, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and MixLR, and they will each give you Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's archive. So whichever one is your favorite, whichever one you downloaded, whichever one you're going to listen to in the car or on a jog or taking care of the kids or when you're just laying on a hammock having a good old time, whatever it may be, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is there for you in your pocket, on the go, wherever you go. So make sure that you download us today on any of these beautiful channels by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and you'll get the show whenever you want it. So thank you for that. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, as we get set this morning inside of these Cafe Kubal studios. As I was saying, a Cafe Kubal here for you in the community on 3501 James Street, where I found myself yesterday grabbing something to drink for a friend and I. So over on 3501 James Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street, where Kubal Co-works is, where you can rent out space for your business right above the cafe. So they have the entire building. So you can rent out space there. You can go to the podcasting headquarters and do some audio video editing. You can also shoot some things up there. and you can grab space for a meeting. They have plenty of meeting areas there if you have to do a business meeting, and maybe you work from home and you want to have a location which is outside of that. And then obviously they have rooms that you can rent as well for your business. So maybe you need to get out of the house and just have a place to call home for your business where you go for a few hours. You can rent out space there at Cafe Kubal, right above Cafe Kubal on 208 North Townsend Street at Kubal Cowork. So make sure you reach out to them and let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, because it's a great opportunity for your business to have a place to truly have as your home away from home. So, and with so many people working from home, this is a great idea right now. So definitely take the time and head over there. And I appreciate y'all for doing that. And thank you so much for those of you that have gone out to Cafe Kubal, as well as those of you that have rented out space inside of Kubal Coworks. Of course, they're also on 401 South Salina Street, and you'll find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, where I started my week last week with Rob Drummond as we were getting ready talking about the upcoming season for Syracuse football. And, of course, you could find them at their newest location, which is their first ever drive-through location, and that is located for you on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners. So, inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we are going to have a trio of Syracuse football players in MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', and that trio of players are going to be Airon Servais, as well as Mikel Jones and Marlowe Wax Jr. We'll start with the linebackers, and then we'll go off to my video conversation with Airon Servais. In our number dose, we will break down the Syracuse Orange Depth Chart, and we'll give you some thoughts on that, as the depth chart has been released for Week 1. And that depth chart has some interesting pieces, some new starters, and some true freshmen that are going to be going out there, as well as a wide receiver that's been on the team for a while and has really never gotten any time, and now all of a sudden, he's a starter. So we'll get to all that today, as I am bringing us closer and closer, by the grace of God, to the upcoming season here with Syracuse football, starting this Saturday, September 4th, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on the road in Athens, Ohio, visiting the Ohio Bobcats. And that is a MAC team, which Dino Babers is all too familiar with, as Dino was at Bowling Green before he came to Syracuse. So we're bringing you closer and closer to Game 1 and talking with the players, talking with Dino Babers, and speaking on the team itself, breaking things down and analyzing different pieces. Yesterday, we did the biggest questions for this upcoming season. I'd love to get your thoughts, so I'll share that on social media, that you can send to me your biggest questions for the upcoming season, and we can send those out here as well. So a lot of great stuff coming up. I want to thank everybody that's listening. I want to thank my boy Johnny for some positivity this morning. You know, you got to go out there and thank your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your friends that become your brothers and sisters. You got to thank them for the time that they take, because that time is precious and you can never get back time. So when somebody calls you up just to say hello and they just want to see how you're doing, well, hold on to those people, appreciate that positivity, and remember to say thank you, because I don't think we always say it enough. So thank you, Johnny. And thank you to all of you that take the time to take the time. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and when we come back, the linebackers, Mikel Jones and Marlowe Wax, will join us right after this inside the Cafe Kubal studios, giving their take on the Syracuse football team in 2021. Can't wait to hear from them right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Café Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Café Kubal needs. Café Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out with you inside of the Café Kubal Studios, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, and of course you'll find them at 343 Fayette Street in the giant behemoth of a building that actually looks like coffee being poured. That brown building is right there for you on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius. And, of course, you'll find them at their newest location, which is their first ever drive-thru. And that's at the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in North Syracuse, a.k.a. Sweetheart Corners. So, we welcome you to these beautiful studios and ask you to fill your cup up right today and enjoy the show. It's time to get into my trio of conversations with the Syracuse Orange football players that are featured today. Those players are Mikel Jones, Marlowe Wax, and Airon Servais. And I'm very, very excited to be able to jump into this right away. We're going to start things off with Marlowe Wax. Marlowe Wax Jr., a linebacker on the team. As a young player on the team, he definitely made a splash this past season and did some good things in a season that, record-wise, obviously didn't look great. But individually, there was a lot of good things that happened. With Afatu Melifonwu, with Mikel Jones, with Marlowe Wax, with Garrett Williams, with Jihad Carter. These defensive players did some pretty incredible things, even though the season, record-wise, didn't turn out the way that anybody wanted it. And so as we head into this season, I have the pleasure, the honor of speaking with Mr. Marlowe Wax. And that's where we'll start things in this trio of conversations heading into Syracuse's game week with Mr. Marlowe Wax. First and foremost, here he is.
Well, I mean, coming off of last season, a lot of things that you guys want to change up a little bit. I spoke with Josh and Aaron about evolving and the team being together. Do you feel like the team is more of a cohesive unit now?
Oh, yeah, definitely. After last season, I really feel like that wasn't us. So after getting the spring behind us, a real summer behind us, everything, I feel like we're coming together, a lot more bonding time. This year is going to be great. I just can't wait to see it.
What was it about last year that things just didn't click?
Last year, you know how I feel like everybody, but it's not an excuse at all. COVID really messed us up. Going through a lot of things, missing summer practices, missing fall practices. We wasn't able to be who we wanted to be. But it's, like I said, it's not an excuse at all. It's just we got to put that behind us and focus on the future.
How did you get through kind of, all the COVID stuff that we don't see behind the scenes. You really didn't have a life. I mean, you're living in a bubble. You can be with your teammates, and that's really it. You can't have a college experience or anything. So how did you navigate that?
So definitely, it was all about work. We had to just focus on what we could focus on, control what we could control. So. And we really was just us up here. It was us and the coaches spending a lot of time with us, even though we couldn't leave out and go to many places. But I feel like it was still good. We got through it.
What can you say about this coaching staff since coming here? How would you describe the staff led by Dino Babers?
Oh, definitely. Like he always said, Ohana, family. He really means that, and it's really true. We all love each other. We all treat each other the same. It's just Ohana, like I said, family.
You came in with the opportunity that you could play running back, could play linebacker. Being on the defensive side, do you feel like it's really hitting your niche? Is that where you like being?
Oh, yeah. So Coach Babers gave me an option to do both. So he put it up to me, but I chose linebacker. And I feel like linebacker is giving me opportunity to mostly help the team and help me with my future to maybe go to the NFL.
Why is linebacker the better route for you?
I feel like both will help me with both of the team, with offense and defense, but linebacker, I feel like for me and my body and my speed and everything, will mostly help the team on defense.
The linebacker core for Syracuse has changed over the years. Really just the faces every single year seem to change. This year you get to be one of those faces that was here last year and get to come back. Just what you can say about that continuity.
Oh yeah, so definitely us group of linebackers, we just compete so much. We talk about it, but we all love each other like brothers. We still, when we off the field, we spend time with each other. So I love these guys because they motivate me each and every day to keep getting better and better and better. Yes, sir.
Who are some of the guys that you really feel push you in the linebacker core?
Oh, I feel like you know who the guys like Mikel and them be all pushing each other, but the guys that's behind me, that's the guys that you guys don't really know about, like Anwar Sparrow, Leon Lowry, and Jeff Canton. They're just pushing me something crazy. Yes, sir.
What are they doing? How are they pushing you?
Our little small talks, like they see something I mess up, they're just telling me what I need to fix on. I tell them what I need to fix on. Or when they go out there and make plays, it's getting me hyped. That's even pushing me because I always know we just all trying to get each other better.
Mikel is somebody who led the team in interceptions last year when obviously Andre Cisco went out due to injury and whatnot. How does Mikel lead the room of linebackers?
Oh, that man's a leader for real, definitely. And you talk about the interceptions, we call him turnover machine. It's crazy how he does that. He leads us all. He's very, very vocal with us, and it makes us all better. He helps the young guys all the time.
This defense, the 3-3-5, what can you say about it and the comfortability in it? How would you describe it for you?
So this is coming from high school. This is something different. This is very evolving, and I love it because it gives each and every person on the defense to make plays, and that's what I'm here for.
Implementing the defense last year during a COVID year was obviously difficult.
Definitely, yeah.
So how has it maybe gotten a little bit easier from spring to fall this year with this defense?
See, that's one of the reasons of why I feel like this year is going to be different. Last year, new defense, we wasn't able to have opportunities to learn the defense and missing practice and everything. But with this having the spring behind us, also the season and this summer, I feel like we're going to know it better. We're going to know it like the back of our hands. We're going to be able to put on a showcase.
This season, a lot out there left to be desired after 1-10. What should the fans know as they, God willing, will be back in the stands? What should they know about you guys?
Fans know that we got a chip on our shoulder. We're going to show you guys that last year was really just a fluke. We're going to put on a show for y'all this year.
Cisco goes forward to the NFL. Fatu goes. Trill just made a play for the Dolphins out there. You guys don't have them anymore here, but what can you say about your hopes for them as they move forward and represent Syracuse?
Yeah, so we miss those guys. We know those guys are going to keep on working and keep putting on for us. So now we just got to, it's this next guy up. We know the guys behind them are also going to make plays and just like how they did and maybe go into the future, promisely.
Biggest thing you learned from the last 18 months going through a pandemic and trying to play college football?
Really, I would say control what we can control. Not try to worry about all the outside stuffs. Keep it inside Ohana. Make sure that we can work and put on a showcase, like I keep saying, because can't wait.
For you, how would you describe your game? Because you were able to go in and really do some positive things right off the bat and make your presence known on defense. How would you define your game?
I would say a guy that can cover and also control the line of scrimmage. I feel as though in coverage I can do the same thing as a lot of people. I can make plays. I can make plays in an open field, make plays in the hole, just like any linebacker would.
There's a lot of quarterbacks in this Atlantic Division at Syracuse. Mackenzie Milton is here now. Obviously, DJ Uyunglele is there from Clemson. There's a lot of different pieces that are going to try to do what they can against you.
Right.
What can you say to the quarterbacks and the offenses that you're going to see this year?
Yeah, so first I wish all those guys great because they really are some good players that we're talking about. But we're going to, each and every week, we're going to focus on who we have and just get ready. Each and every week, you get ready to who we're playing against because we know what they can bring and we're just going to bring something back even harder.
We know what they can bring. We're just going to bring something back even harder, saying, hey, listen, I respect these players, but it's about us, and it is. And that's the thing that people need to understand. And he talked about this too. Control the controllables. It's something that the first time I ever heard it said that way was with Scott Schaefer. Control the controllables, Dan. You can only control what you can control. And you can't control anything else. You can't control how another team prepares. You can't control who another team gets. You can't control what another team has. The only thing you can do is control what you can control. You can control how often are you practicing? What are you practicing? How are you practicing? You know what I mean? What film are you watching? When you're not practicing, are you looking at tape? Are you working on mechanics? Are you getting together one-on-one with people and doing some things to get, what are you doing to prepare yourself? What are you doing to get ready? What are you doing to make it happen? And those are the questions that you are in control of. How are you preparing to win the day? And outside of that, what else can you control? Nothing. So you have to just do the best you can with what you have and give it all you got. And that's really where it is. And I think that we do spend so much time focusing on, well, how do I do this, and how do I do this, and how do I do this, and how do I do this, in the sense of what we can't control. How do I control this person to do this? How do I control this person to do that? You can't. You just can't. You can't control anybody to do anything. And you can only look to your teammates and say, okay, you got to do your job, I got to do my job, and like he said, they're going to do what they do, we're going to do something back harder. And I respect that. And I hope Syracuse does. Because this city is my hometown, and these gentlemen represent this city, and I know that they want more. And I know the bad taste in their mouth last year was unacceptable. And they want to do better. Because they believe they are better. And I believe they are better too. Coming up next is Mikel Jones staying with the linebacker core of Syracuse. Mikel Jones speaking with me after I had the opportunity to speak with Marlowe Wax. And this is what Mikel had to say when we had the opportunity to get together heading into the 2021 season.
Mikel, I just spoke with Marlowe Wax about how you lead the room, just what you can say about being the vet that's coming back here to lead this linebacker core.
Yeah, it feels crazy because we actually, I helped recruit Stephon Thompson and Marlowe Wax, and it's like we almost the same age, but they look at me as the old dude, and since they do, I always try to help them since the day they got on campus. Even before they got on campus, I've been trying to help them learn the scheme, and even the new guys. We got new guys, all types of new guys came out. I think we got 5 or 6 new linebackers, and they always open to come to my apartment any time of the day and learn plays.
Some
also
of the
D linemen too. Anybody can come and learn some plays so we can be on the point.
Implementing a new defense last year during a pandemic was obviously difficult. This time around, coming through the spring into the fall, just what you can say about maybe the comfortability with the 3-3-5 now.
We're much more comfortable. Everybody much more comfortable. Everybody know what everybody's going. And we were able to come out here and run way more plays than we were able to do last fall. So that shows a lot of growth in the defense. We know what we're doing now.
Mikel Jones saying that the team knows what they're doing. They understand it better now. Last year, bringing in Tony White as your new defensive coordinator coming from the state of Arizona and bringing in a new defensive coordinator, having a new defensive scheme, and trying to teach everybody during a pandemic obviously could affect things. And so, I've said on the show that Syracuse can't really say that they were more affected than other places because, health-wise, they stayed pretty healthy. They stayed relatively totally healthy. Outside of that, they were able to play all their games the days that they were supposed to play them. They didn't have to postpone any games. They didn't have to cancel any games. So that was something that, you can't turn around and say, oh, okay, well, the pandemic this and the pandemic that. But what I can say is that, trying to navigate through a pandemic and learn an entire new defensive scheme, that affects things and can definitely make things a little bit more difficult. But this year, being able to go through it, I put it to you like this: when you're changing schemes anyways, it takes time. So changing schemes during a pandemic with all these other rules and protocol and whatnot, I can understand that. Like I said, I'm not giving Syracuse an excuse, because everybody went through the pandemic last year, and thank God for how Syracuse was able to get through it without really having little to any issue, which is a beautiful thing, because not everybody can say that. And I pray and I hope that everybody who has gotten sick or has gone through any of this or had a loved one, that you're doing well, that you're healing, that you're getting better, that you're healthy, safe, and happy. Because this last 18 months has been incredibly trying. So I'm hoping that everybody's okay. And I'm hoping that everybody's getting back to hopefully some positive things and a better swing of things right now. That's my hope and my prayer. So Syracuse, I'm not going to give them that excuse, because everybody went through a pandemic. But I will say that having to learn a new scheme on offense or defense, on top of the fact that there's a pandemic, I'm sure made things more difficult and not as fun to go through and not as easy to go through. So, there is that side of it, and I can understand that side of it. And with that being said, as Mikel said, we're a lot more comfortable now in this defense, and, to be able to have it all last season and then have it in the spring this year, have it in the fall, then you would imagine that this team has kind of gotten it under their belt. They're understanding it. They're moving forward, and they're going to be better in this defense. Because like I said, last year they were individually talented. Individually, Syracuse had a bunch of talent on the team. Defense alone: Garrett Williams, Jihad Carter, Rob Hanna, Marlowe Wax, Mikel Jones, Josh Black, McKinley Williams, Kingsley Jonathan, Andre Sisco, Afatu Melifonwu, Trill Williams. They had talent all the way through. Jeff Canton-Arku, all the way through. But now it's about, okay, Tony White's here another year. The 3-3-5 is has already been implemented. It's been put in. And now what are you going to do with it now that you've had some time to let it marinate? Now here comes the question. And I'm excited to see what Syracuse is going to do with it this season, as, you really can't do that much worse than what they did last year, and you can't even fathom having a winless season. So, it's time for the Orange to get on it and get after it, and that's the hope that they're going to do exactly that and find their way this season and find their place this season as they move forward. As last year was a very trying time and left such a bad taste in some of their mouths, that these guys came back. And I'm very, very excited that that the Airon Servaises of the world came back, and that the Josh Blacks came back, and Kingsley Jonathans, because this team needs all the help that they could possibly get, and it's a beautiful thing to have them back here and leading the charge as they move forward. And speaking of one of those gentlemen, Airon Servais, he will be next up in our video Q&A and our extensive conversation with the offensive lineman. Pretty confident you won't find something like this really anywhere else. He answers a lot of our questions, with the biggest question I posed going into the season: is the offensive line? Well, with that being my biggest question of Syracuse football, he answers so many of my questions about the offensive line right after this. So kind of fitting that yesterday I said my biggest question arguably on the team this year is the offensive line, and here's Airon Servais to answer some of those questions the day after. So you'll hear from Airon Servais right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. You're also watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, being shared on facebook.com/live-now-dt, and of course on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're connecting with the show, thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on all of these beautiful and wonderful channels. So we thank you so very much for your connection to us there. And, of course, we thank you all for going to Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Going to all of these venues to search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and grab our show there, or searching one word, Wake Up Call DT. So however you connect with us, I thank you so much for doing that and appreciate you very, very much so. I do want to, before we get into my conversation with Airon Servais, I do want to pray for everybody in the path of Hurricane Ida, as well as anybody anywhere who needs a special prayer. So, like I said, I always say on the show, whatever you believe in, whatever your religion, whatever is, I believe in God, and I put God first, and as I respect you, I ask you to respect me. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. God, I pray that wherever we are, and whatever we're doing, that we have the peace, and the strength, and the knowledge, and the wisdom, and the comedy, and the beauty to move forward. That we do everything that we possibly can to move forward in a positive way. I pray and I hope that nothing will hold us down, nothing will keep us down, including those that are in the path of Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Katrina is something that I got to know when we went down and did Operation Helping Hands with Marywood University. And the people that I met in New Orleans are incredible people. They are resilient people. They're positive people. They're good people. And they were affected in such a way that I can't even describe. So I ask for your prayers, and I ask for your hopes, and I ask for your well wishes to go toward every single person in New Orleans, in Louisiana, in any path of any of this with Hurricane Ida, that Hurricane Ida goes back into the water, stops, leaves, and that no natural disasters or man-made disasters will take any more lives. That war will not take any more lives. That hate and discrimination and prejudice and negativity will not take any more lives. That suicide will not take any more lives. And that broken hearts will not take any more lives. And that COVID and pandemics and cancer and AIDS and all of these things and epidemics and whatnot will not take any more lives. Yeah, these are big prayers. But one life taken is too many. So I pray for everybody, and I pray for an end to all pain, because I don't want to see the taking of any more lives. So my prayers go out to everybody that needs one. And let's face it, we all do. There's nobody that should be out there going, keep your prayers. I don't want it. And even if they are, I send you my prayers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Be yourself. Be happy. Be proud. And do your best. And God bless you. Always. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, you all matter to me. And somebody who's mattered to me for a very long time, and I feel like we've known each other for at least 7 years, if not 8, is Airon Servais. Airon joins me today, and we have an extensive conversation. Like I said yesterday, going into game week, my biggest questions for Syracuse football this season, the first one I said, and to me, arguably the biggest question, is the offensive line. Well, when you want your questions answered, you go to the people that actually can answer some of those questions. You don't ask those questions. You don't ask questions about neurosurgery to a pilot, and you don't ask how to fly a plane to a teacher. So, unless they're a flight instructor. So, with that being said, I want to know about the offensive line, so I went straight to somebody that I respect and have for a very long time, Airon Servais. Here's our conversation.
It's Dan Tortora of Wake Up Call here with Airon Servais, who's played pretty much every single position on the line, right tackle, left tackle, center. Airon, looking at that, being so multiple, in this camp, have you found a position or a place, or are you still rotating all over?
No, I've pretty much been sticking at right tackle for camp, yeah.
And so bring me into that. I mean, is that where you have felt most comfortable when you look back on your career? Do you feel like right tackle is the best spot?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely where I'm most comfortable, especially because now I've gotten so many reps there. I mean, I finished the year last year there. I went through all of spring basically at right tackle and then all of camp as well. So I'm definitely getting a lot of reps and I'm definitely getting really comfortable there.
Left tackle, I spoke with Sean Hickey about it before in the past, that when he had to rotate from left tackle to right tackle, and just, you know, people don't think much of it. They're like, oh, tackle's tackle, but you have to change. Literally, you have to like mirror yourself the other way. So how are you able to bounce back and forth when you've had to do that?
Yeah, I mean, so in the past we've done a lot of cross-training stuff, so it wasn't unusual to have guys play at both spots, you know, even in one practice. But yeah, there definitely is a bit of a learning curve when you first make that transition. Just getting used to, you know, having your hands flipped, having your feet flipped, things like that. But it's usually not too bad. Usually, if you have to make the switch by the end of the practice, you're usually getting pretty comfortable.
Left tackle, who has really shown out in your opinion, being a vet on this line? Who have you liked seeing over there in camp?
I mean, Burge is always solid at left for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's locked down that spot for a few games for us now, and he does a great job out there, I think.
Matt Bergeron, who you just mentioned, had to step in. What did you see from him in those few games and then through camp, through the spring and now, that makes you feel like he can protect that blind side?
Yeah, I mean, we made that switch last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, he stepped in right away. He's a young dude. He's a really athletic dude, and he's a really smart dude. That's the biggest thing that surprised me, even when he came in as a freshman. And you know, he ended up having to play right tackle for us for a few games that first year. Really smart dude. He picks up stuff really well. And then he's able to transition from the film to the field really well. Yeah.
You've played center. What can you say about the center position now and the personnel there?
I mean, the guys are working. We're doing a little bit stuff different up front in terms of calls and things like that from previous years. But I like what I'm seeing from those guys. They're doing their best to pick up everything and learn, and I think they're doing a really good job communicating to the other guys on the line, so we all know what we're supposed to be doing. I think they're doing well.
Has anybody really claimed that yet or no?
I think there's a lot of good competition there, yeah.
So when you see that competition there, I mean, obviously somebody has to know that spot, you know, very, very well, because everybody looks for the quarterback, but if you're not hiking the ball right, your timing's not down. I mean, the center has that extremely crucial and very important job. Mm-hmm. We've seen you play there. Carlos has played there as well. What can you say about, you know, maybe some of the guys individually in that competition of maybe what they've shown you technique-wise?
I think the biggest thing with center is you got to be a gritty dude, yeah. Right? You got to be an asshole. So I think those guys are really trying to work on developing that mentality. First it's knowing, you know, what you're doing, what everybody else needs to be doing, and then communicating that. But then after that, it's the way that you play the game.
The guards, left guard and right guard, who's been stepping up there?
Again, I think we've been looking at a few different guys, trying to see what the best five is.
Yeah.
There's certainly competition in those groups, and it's good to see the guys go out there and work on that.
Some of the young guys that have come in, can you make any notes on some of those offensive linemen that have come in here, like Tyler, like Enrique and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, so those guys are really young, so obviously you can't necessarily expect them to be, you know, starting ACC linemen.
Yeah.
But those guys are working really, really hard. They're really focusing in the film room, and they got a lot of closeness. I've noticed they're a really tight-knit group. Those new guys that came in, and that's really good to see.
Brought in some guys from Hawaii. What's that been like to see some people from the island?
It's kind of cool. I mean, they've got a little bit different a culture out there than we do here. Yeah. So it's cool to see the Hawaiian flavor that they bring into the room.
For you to be such a vet on this line, really to be not just the father, but like the grandfather of this offensive line, of the guys that have returned, I know that you've said there's competition, you haven't named names specifically, but who are you happy to see back here when you look to, you know, being on the right tackle, really just looking down the line to the left of you? Who are some of those guys that you think have improved, if you can name some of them specifically, just on what you've seen from when they got here and to where they are now?
Honestly, I think everyone's improved. I know that you want me to name names and stuff, but I mean it. Everybody's improved. I think the front five has certainly made some big jumps, and obviously, the 2s and 3s are coming along as well. But I think up front, especially in that first group, that's the guys I work with the most, right? I think we've made a lot of jumps, especially, from the beginning of spring until now. And even from the end of the spring until now, throughout camp, I think we've progressed a lot. It's really good to see the growth, and I'm excited to see that keep continuing into the season.
Is there more depth this year than you've seen since you've been here?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's fair to say.
Yeah.
So you feel like there's at least 2 deep at each position if you need it.
Yeah, I would say so. And I mean, the big thing there is even just being able to, as the one guy, just having an extra group to, take a little more reps during the practice. So instead of cycling 2 groups through all the drills and stuff like that, you're cycling 3 groups. So you get a little bit more, a little bit less wear and tear on your body, which is nice.
You decided to come back for year 6, and here at right tackle, NFL-wise, playing left tackle, playing center, do you feel like that's going to help your film, that they can see you at all 3 positions? Do you want to really show them that you're one of the best right tackles in the country? How do you look at it right now?
I mean, I'm going to go out there and play the best ball that I can every week. It's not really up to me what position I play at the next level. It's going to be up to the teams. Some teams might like me and my center film better. They might like my tackle film better. So I'm just going to keep playing the position that I'm at right now. And, I certainly look at my versatility as a strength. But yeah, I'm just going to keep working.
I know it's hard to talk about this statistically. It was rough, but the last 2 years, Syracuse was last in the country in sacks allowed at a certain point. What are you guys doing to correct what you saw last year and the year before?
Everything we can. I mean, Coach Smith's been huge on the technique. He does not want a repeat of what we've seen in the last few years, and neither do we. So yeah, we've really been busting our butt to really dial in on the technique stuff, really dial in on the scheme stuff, and we don't want that to happen again. Absolutely. Quarterback-wise,
Tommy DeVito and Garrett Schrader, we've heard from Dino that we're going to see them both. What does that do for an offensive line to have to prepare to have 2 different quarterbacks and 2 different skill sets back there?
It doesn't do as much as you would think. Both those guys are really, really talented. They've certainly got their strengths. And, up front, it doesn't really change for us. We gotta give each guy as much time as we can. We gotta dent guys in the run game as much as we can, no matter who's behind us. So it doesn't change things as much as you think it would.
Leadership-wise, how does that affect the team that you have 2 guys trying to command the team right now? I mean, Garrett's trying to build his relationships, and Tommy's trying to expand his as well. So how does that work out in like a locker room or practice setting?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, why just have one leader when you can have 2? You know what I mean? I think it's great to have both those guys, out there and taking charge of the offense and leading us down the field. I think it's awesome.
And then lastly, running back wise, for me, I love the position. And I know that it's been a long time since Syracuse has had a 1,000-yard back, since 2012 with Jerome Smith, and then all-purpose Prince Tyson Gully got 1,000 that year as well. But you have Josh Huff coming in, who's a bruiser from Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. You have Cooper Lutz, who stepped up. Sean Tucker, I've seen not only did what he did last year, but I've seen his body has obviously changed in the best of ways, put on more muscle. Abdul Adams has changed his body as well, and Jarvion Howard. So I would imagine that you want to run the ball a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of different dudes that can definitely tote the rock. So don't be surprised if there's more than one 1,000-yard rusher.
That all coming here in today's broadcast with Airon Servais and giving his take on a lot of different things and a lot of different pieces, and I appreciate that. And obviously that has been added to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, so you can go and check that out instantaneously. Right now, actually, you can go check out that video with Airon Servais in our one-on-one conversation. But yeah, they have those backs, and we're going to talk about the backs, the quarterbacks, and everything, including the offensive line and how it all stacks out. Coming off that conversation with Airon Servais, we'll take a look at this week's depth chart right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life from inside of the Café Kubal studios.
Café Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Café Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store today by searching the Millhouse Market. And once you have that, you'll have everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads to homemade desserts, salads, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, as well as their brick oven pizzas. And this weekend and every first weekend of every month, every Saturday, I have to say, every Saturday. So every single first Saturday of every month. So every first Saturday of every month, buy one, get one brick oven pizzas. And so you know your boy's going to be out there picking up a couple of them today, or this week, I should say. In my brain, I don't know what date it is. So I don't know what day it is of the week anymore. I don't think any of us do. So this Saturday is the first Saturday of September, which means buy one, get one pizzas are out there at the Millhouse Market, so go and get that. And, of course, their sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community. They are truly worth the drive every time. And when you go up to see them, make sure that you are going to the Millhouse Market to enjoy not only their indoor dining, but you can also enjoy their general store and their drive-through pickup window where you can grab your food and go about your merry way. The Millhouse Market, 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, worth the drive every time. Here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, on wakeupcalldt.com, as well as mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt. You're watching and listening to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Greg saying good stuff from the quote-unquote grandfather of the offensive line. That's what I call him. I said, listen, bro, you've been here way too long. I can't call you the father of the line. You're the granddaddy. So my man Airon Servais, the grandfather of the offensive line. Happy to have him on the show as always. So very excited to see him have his final season, and God willing, not his final football, as I would love to see Airon Servais in the NFL. This man is, he is just to me, he's one of those, he's like a people's champion, right? You know, he's one of those people that you should be rooting for. So Airon Servais working his tail off at right tackle, at left tackle, at center in his career at Syracuse. And now we're going to take a look at the depth chart. So for those of you that are here with the ability to look on screen with me, we're going to be doing that. So I'm going to share that with you. And for those of you that are listening, I will describe it. So we'll break it down. I've been doing this radio thing for almost 18 years, so I think I can paint a picture for you over the radio. And so I'm happy to do that as well for those that are maybe driving or at work, got the buds in your ears, whatever it may be. You're working out, taking care of the kids. So I'll get you covered here too and let you know exactly what we're looking at as I bring this up on the screen on YouTube and Facebook's live feeds of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. So let's bring up week 1 here. It's going to be a little bit smaller here, but I'll read you through it and we can talk about it here. So first and foremost, we have Syracuse. We'll go to the offensive side of things. Tommy DeVito is the starter and Garrett Schrader is the backup. It does not say or. See, so Dino will put on here if somebody else can be in that spot, he'll put the or. And so there's a lot of things we're going to do as we break down this depth chart today for Syracuse football going into week 1 against the Ohio Bobcats on the road. And I'm very excited to be having this conversation with you and tell you kind of what's going on and all the good stuff here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So we're going to start with quarterback. Quarterback here on the depth chart has Tommy DeVito as the starter and Garrett Schrader as the backup. Some of you may be surprised. Some of you may not be surprised. I can tell you that I'm personally not surprised that this is the situation that we're in. I thought that this is kind of the way that it would go, and that's my feeling on it. You know, I'm not really thrown off by the fact that this is where we're at. I felt like this is kind of where Dino was going to head and what he was going to do, and so this doesn't baffle me at all that your starter is Tommy DeVito and that Garrett Schrader is your backup. Now, he said he's going to play them both. It doesn't say or on here. Normally, when somebody else, like I said, could be in that spot, he'll say or on the sheet, and we'll discuss that as we get to running back and wide receiver because there's a few ors there. But ultimately, you know, Tommy coming out, going to be the starter. My feeling on this whole thing is if he plays Tommy in the first half and it's not working out and they don't have any points, or maybe they have 3 points, or maybe he's thrown an interception or 2, then at that point you shift and you put in Garrett Schrader in the second half and you let him go and you let him fly and you see what he can do and then you go from there. That's how I look at this grand scheme of things, because ultimately the job has not been decided, in my opinion. There's no declared starter on the team right now, in my opinion. I think it's still up to these gentlemen, and I think Tommy has more to prove than Garrett, because Tommy has been here longer. So I think, you know, it's kind of like he's got to go out there, can't make the same mistakes. If he does, then you have to shift to Garrett, and then you got to give Garrett a little bit of a window. But the starting quarterback, Tommy DeVito, backup Garrett Schrader for this game, and Garrett Schrader will be wearing number 16. So if and when you see him come into the game, that's where that's how you'll know that it's him. So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing this system. I hope that it works. I really do. I hope that this all comes together for Syracuse. But ultimately, I think they need to trust in one quarterback. And Tommy's, like, again, the fire's kind of under his seat. And with Garrett Schrader, there's an open opportunity. So we'll see what happens. With running back, we have Sean Tucker as the starter. Now, Sean Tucker was a freshman last year. He's a freshman this year because of COVID, giving everybody a free year. So they gained back last year almost as if it never happened. Sean Tucker first, Cooper Lutz second, or Jarvion Howard. Now, Abdul Adams transferred into Syracuse, mind you, folks, and he was able to play in the bowl game. Did some good things in the bowl game, scored in the bowl game. So did Tristan Jackson, who had transferred into Syracuse. So we got to see that. And that was a beautiful thing. Well, that was great, and that was wonderful. But now, all of a sudden, Abdul is nowhere to be seen on this depth chart, which has caused some fans to have some concern as to exactly what's happening with Abdul Adams. Now, Abdul Adams, if you go to Cuse.com to the 2021 football roster and take a look at it, Abdul Adams is still on this roster. He is a redshirt senior transferring in to Syracuse after he played at Oklahoma for his freshman and sophomore seasons inside of the Big 12. Now, he sat out last year during the pandemic, but he's back here now and has been in practice and was at the Fan Fest. But he's not on the 3 deep of running back for Syracuse, which is an interesting thing right here. As we take a look at this upcoming season, Abdul Adams, not one of the 3 running backs we're seeing on this list. Sean Tucker, the man who had to take over last year, and Cooper Lutz, who took over when Sean Tucker got hurt. Those 2 guys are number 1 and 2, which shows that, and this is something I can respect and appreciate from Dino if this is his reasoning for it, the fact that Sean Tucker is 1 and Cooper Lutz is 2 shows that Dino doesn't just do that thing where he says, oh, okay, my starter's back, get the heck out of here. Oh, my guy's back from injury, my guy's this, my guy's that, so throw you out and don't give you any respect for the work that you did or the fact that you bailed us out and helped us in crunch time. So that's a good sign for me, and that's a good thing, in my opinion, from Dino to show as a coach, because, other coaches, it's like, oh, okay, our guy's back, yeah, whatever, go sit on the bench and do your thing. Where, this looks like Dino saying, hey, you guys put the work in last year, and they've obviously, hopefully, proven themselves in camp as well. I know Sean Tucker's got himself even more muscular, and so to have both of these guys do what they did last year, step in as the 4th and 5th string backs going into the season, or maybe 5th and 6th string going into last season, coming into that season, doing what they did, having the success they had. Cooper Lutz having a touchdown in South Bend at Notre Dame, which was awesome and will always be in his history. And Sean Tucker doing everything he did last year statistically and just being a terror to some defenses out there. For them to step in last year when Abdul and Jarvion decided to sit out due to COVID, and then come back into spring camp and a fall camp and do enough to put themselves in a position that they're still at the top, I give them respect for that, and I respect Dino for that he didn't just say, oh, my other 2 guys are back, go sit. Jarvion Howard, though, above Abdul Adams here, as he's an or with Cooper Lutz. So Jarvion we could be seeing here in the rotation. And this could just be smoke and mirrors. We could be seeing Abdul, and maybe Dino wants Ohio to think he's in trouble, or he's not going to play, or he's not doing that good, or he hasn't, shown himself out at practice, or whatever it may be. Maybe this is smoke and mirrors. But as of right now, the depth chart is Sean Tucker, Cooper Lutz, or Jarvion Howard at the number 2. Tight end, Chris Elmore. Now, he plays fullback, and Syracuse doesn't put a spot for fullback on their depth chart. So some people are saying, oh, well, Luke Benson, or what about this, and Chris Elmore's here, how does that? Chris Elmore is a Swiss Army knife for Syracuse, and we'll talk with him about it this week as we go into game number 1. You'll see my video Q&A with Chris Elmore, and we talk about him being that jack of all trades, kind of whatever the team needs him to be, that's what he is. And so, Chris Elmore has definitely shown that he can go where he needs to go on the offensive line. He can go defensively and do some things there as well. And so he's going to involve himself in the rushing game. He's going to involve himself on the offensive line, defensively, whatever Elmore needs to do. He's going to go out there and help this team to the best of his ability. So he is on the roster as the only fullback on the team. but he is put into the depth chart as a tight end. I think, again, he's going to be a Swiss Army knife, so I'm not too concerned about that. Luke Benson at tight end. Obviously, Aaron Hackett gone off to TCU, so Luke Benson, next guy to step up. They were a great 1-2 punch, and in my opinion, Syracuse didn't use them enough at the tight end position. They did not throw the ball there enough. When they did throw the ball there, these guys were effective in the red zone. They were effective in the, they were definitely effective over the middle. And I feel like 80 to 90% of the passes thrown their way, they caught. But the question was, when are they going to throw to these guys? And I think that, that leads to an Aaron Hackett going forward to a TCU because you want to get the ball. And I don't think they threw it to him enough. Wide receivers, Taj Harris, still here as one of the starting receivers. Courtney Jackson, who is a redshirt freshman, is behind him at one of the positions, or Trevor Pena. Now, Trevor Pena, those of you remember him as the return man. He's a freshman this year. He was a freshman last year. He did some good things last year in getting involved with the team and making some moves. And seeing him in the return game at Orange Fan Fest is also another cool thing here, as he is listed as the starting kick returner and punt returner. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But Trevor Pena could be out there at receiver for the team as well, with Courtney Jackson behind Taj Harris. Anthony Quealy has gotten one of the starting jobs, and right behind him is true freshman. Not a true freshman because last year COVID, but an actual freshman that came in this year, Aronde Gadsden II, standing at 6'5", 210 pounds. He is right behind Anthony Quealy. And then the other side of it was, who's going to be the next receiver? Sherrod Johnson, who is a redshirt junior on the team, who came onto the team years ago, is now here and would have been a senior if not for the free COVID year. Sherrod Johnson is one of the starting receivers wearing number 19. Damian Elford behind him, a freshman coming onto the team at 6'6", 215. Sherrod Johnson, 5'11", 185. So that's been a question mark there, is that, for the last couple of years, and definitely a couple of years ago, people saying, well, why aren't we seeing Sherrod Johnson? Why isn't he out there? Why is he playing in garbage time? Why isn't he playing at all? And he goes from literally nothing to being a starter. So that leaves to question, how good were his camps? Since we in the media are not allowed to watch camp, the question is, what did he do in camp? We used to be able to see them in the spring and see them in the fall and see them mature and see them grow and see them blossom and see different things they did. And I did a camp notebook, and I took a ton of notes every single practice to really bring it to you, the fan, and show you the evolution of the team. But we're not allowed to do that anymore, so I can't. And that's the sad part of it, because if Sherrod Johnson truly evolved through camp, I would have loved to have shown you something like that. But he's listed here as a starter at wide receiver, and we'll see where it goes, because, again, this is a guy who went from the elephant graveyard, #Lion King, of Syracuse football to being a starter on the team. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. Offensive lineman Matt Bergeron, who played right tackle, as Airon Servais just talked about a little bit ago in our video Q&A, he's over at left tackle, and he has Anthony Redd behind him, who's gotten some experience out there at Syracuse. So we know that both of the guys at left tackle have had experience. Chris Bleich, who had to sit out last season, which is kind of a joke because last year was a COVID year and it was given back to everybody. And there's guys that get waivers when they just want to play. And here's Chris Bleich coming to Syracuse applying for a waiver, and they didn't give it to him. So he had to sit out, coming over from Florida and playing for Dan Mullen in the Florida Gators. And now this man has an opportunity to play for Syracuse, standing at 6'6", 320 pounds. And right behind him is another 6'6" guy, a true freshman, Kalen Ellis, who's been on the show before, 365 pounds, got a pound for every day of the year. He's going to be there at left guard too, and that shows you just how he's come up as a true freshman to be put right behind Chris Bleich at left guard. Either one of those guys is going to be a new left guard to the team. Center is going to stay Carlos Vettorello. He split time with Airon Servais. If problems arise, hopefully they don't, but could it happen again that Aaron would have to step in? Maybe. But Carlos Vettorello is the center right now, as a redshirt sophomore. And Josh Alawa, who's a freshman who was on the team last year, he's back at 6'3", 300 pounds, and Vettorello 6'4". At right guard, Darius Tisdale, who had some time last year, and Dakota Davis, who had some time, they're both going to be there. This right guard position, which Evan Adams held down for what felt like 100 years, he was on the team for 5. He was in Syracuse for 5 seasons. Evan Adams truly was the best part of that line. He was the grandfather of that line. And now that torch has been passed to Airon Servais. So the right tackle has really not been figured out in the last couple seasons since Evan Adams moved on to the NFL and had an opportunity with the Baltimore Ravens. So Darius Tisdale trying to find his footing here. Both guys are 6'5", around the same pound and same amount of time. Tisdale's a redshirt junior, so is Dakota Davis. Tisdale and Davis are 6'5". Tisdale is 300, Davis is 325. So the right guard still what I think to be potentially an open slot. Then you heard Airon Servais talk about this team and talk about the guys, and I asked him besides him on the line, where guys were shaping out, and he talked about Bergeron at left tackle, and then he left the whole interior of the line kind of up in the air and didn't specifically say, oh, Vettorello's doing a great job, or Chris Bleich is doing this, or Tisdale's doing that. He left it open, and I feel like there's a reason for that. I think that, again, these guard positions are, in my opinion, fluid right now. The left guard, either one of the guys is going to be a new guy. And at right guard, unproven, even though they were on the team. We're still looking for who the true right guard is going to be, who's going to shore that up. And is Vettorello going to stay at center? Or is Josh Alawa or somebody else going to get a chance? So I think really the ones you can key in on to say these are the positions that are maybe set right now are the tackles. Outside of that, the interior of the line is open, in my opinion, and based off my conversation with Airon Servais, it makes perfect sense because he did not call out any one of these positions and give them to any single one of these offensive linemen. Backing up Airon Servais at right tackle is going to be Jacob Bradford, who is another transfer that came in like Chris Bleich. Jacob Bradford coming in. Be interesting to see this. If Servais is going to take that right tackle position, does Bradford shift to the interior of the line? Now, Servais is 6'6", Bradford 6'5", the same height as Tisdale and Davis, as well as just an inch shorter than Bleich and Kalen Ellis. So if Bradford really is talented and he's got that experience, do you not shift him in if an issue arises at right guard or wherever it may be? So, I still think there's some fluidity with the offensive line, which is not a good thing. I would like there to be 5 starters that know who they are and know what they're doing and know where they're going. But as of right now, this is where we are with this team. I do feel like they will be, God willing, better than they've been in the past. But as we stand right now, it's I still think there's, the opportunity for open competition. And I know some coaches will tell you, well, there's open competition every day and this, and this. But, ultimately, to me, I think that this offensive line is, I've said it in 2019, I said it last year, and I'll say it again. They need to figure out who they are. They need to get their chemistry down, and they need to start working together, and they need to know who is the left guard, who is the left tackle, who's the center, who's the right guard, who's the right tackle, and go to work. Championship caliber teams know who their guys are. And they've built that relationship. I mean, Clemson, you don't hear Clemson going in going, who the hell is this guy? Who's going to be our right guard? Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? Now, maybe from year to year, guys shift and they change and whatnot, and they go on to the NFL. But how many times does that happen and the next guy up? I mean, we talk about Clemson a couple seasons ago, lost their entire defensive line to the NFL, and they're still vying for a national championship. So, it's you need to recruit the right people. You need to have the right scheme for those people, and you need to be able to coach that scheme productively and bring out that productivity from those players. And when you do that, when you really know how to coach and you can translate it to the field, it's on the coach, it's on the scheme, it's on the players. You got to recruit the right guys, you got to have the right scheme, and you got to coach them up the right way, and that's what puts it together. So I think this offensive line the last couple seasons, you got to put some of the onus on the coaches, some of it on recruiting, some of it on scheming maybe, and how maybe you're setting things up, or maybe, some issues at quarterback or this, whatever it may be. But ultimately, you can't go 3 years being the number 1 team in the country in sacks allowed. The fact that you've done that 2 years in a row is not something that you ever want to remember on a stat sheet ever again for the rest of forever. So you can't do it again. And Aaron knows that. And Burge knows that. So now it's time to go to work. I think this interior of the line is still up for grabs. We'll see. But hopefully these gentlemen will start to get it together, find a good nucleus, and move forward. I'm all for the guys pushing them behind them, but I want to know that I don't think Syracuse has had a true starting five in a long time, and that obviously is a compelling issue that I feel is rearing its ugly head over and over again, that they don't have a consistent five. So, with that being said, we'll head to the defensive side as well as special teams right after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As you see the roster up here, this is the depth chart for Syracuse going into their game at Ohio, and we just broke down the offensive side of the depth chart. We'll break down the defensive side right after this. Avicolli is located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, is your home for our Liverpool Warriors live on-site, on-location show every single month with Liverpool Warriors student athletes, coaches, and administration. And tonight, for the last day of August, August 31st, we are featuring at 6 p.m. for the first time ever, Liverpool's girls swimming and diving team. They have a new pool with their new facilities at Liverpool High School. They'll be talking about the new facilities, 18 months of a pandemic, what they've learned, their team chemistry, their coaching staff, which is new as well, and so much more. I'll be joined by their head coach, assistant coach, and 3 of their seniors. I'm very excited tonight. Come out and see us. Support local business and support the local community kids and a local high school. It's a win-win-win for you. Actually, it's a win-win-win-win because you get great food as well. So come out to Avicolli's tonight, grab some dinner at 6 p.m. today, Tuesday, August 31st, and watch as we speak with the Liverpool Warriors girls swimming and diving team right on site, on location, on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. Of course, they're open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks with the pizza casual side, the fine dining side, the outdoor dining, as well as their bar. And you can call them for takeout, delivery, and catering at 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. And, of course, you can also go to myavicollis.com. So, with all of that being said, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, there for you in East Syracuse for your furry-loving friends. When you have to drop off your dog for the day or for a few days, if you're like me, it's difficult. It's like dropping your kid off at daycare. You're thinking, is it the right place? Are these the right people? Well, I can tell you that everyone that I have encountered, from Lorraine and Chad and Heather and the team over at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, I appreciate and I thank them for being an extension of my love for Lily. They take care of her. They're good to her. They bring her around. She plays. She eats her food. She has her little cabin. It's a fantastic experience for our dogs, and it's so much better than them being cooped up in the house. So bring them off to Canine Camp Dog Daycare during the day, and you can pick them up later on that day on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. To get a hold of the daycare, you can call 315-437-7110. And for Canine Campground Dog Boarding, right around the corner on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, both of these near BJ's Wholesale Club across the street, Canine Campground, 315-299-4013. Each dog gets their own cabin, so they have their own place to sleep, their own place to have their food. Nobody's going to steal their food or their bed. The campground allows them to play with other dogs or keep to themselves. So whatever your dog wants, whatever their personality is. Canine Campground Dog Boarding on 242 Johnson Street, 315-299-4013. Call them to get more information. PB&J's Lunch Box, located on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, is your fantastic, wonderful, thank goodness they finally did this, have a cafe for us that is right there as a brick and mortar because we love their food truck. We follow it all over Central and Upstate New York. And now you can go Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. to their Streetside Cafe, which is minutes from Destiny USA, the highway, the thruway, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, centrally located for you. Can't miss it. PB&J's Lunchbox, home of the award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich, as well as a giant menu of goodness. PB&J's Lunchbox has your traditional favorites, and they have their own spin on things as well. It is a truly unique and incredible Central New York staple, in my opinion. Head off to PB&J's Lunchbox today and let us know what's in your lunchbox. 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, located on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York. I have trusted for almost a decade now. When it comes to any one of your injuries from head to toe, call Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics today, because led by Dr. Mark Petropoli, their team at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics cares about you, listens to you, and walks you through the process. 3 things that are hard to find at any doctor's office, they have in one place. They understand that each of us are going to have a different path to victory, and they're willing to talk us through it and walk us through it at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. And I thank them for everything they do with preventative care, rehab, as well as physical therapy and surgery at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Call them today for your injury at 315-685-7544. That's 315-685-7544. With that being stated, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we are breaking down the Syracuse depth chart for this upcoming Week 1 game at Ohio. I went through the offensive side of things, and now it's time to go through the defensive side. And the defensive side does have some interesting pieces here, but they have, I feel, more... I don't want to say this word, so I'm not going to say it, but they have more of a consistent move from last year to this year, let's say that. More of a consistent move, we'll say that. So taking a look at this depth chart, defensive end, obviously it's a 3-3-5, so they got 3 sets of hands in the dirt. This, arguably, and I said this yesterday, is the most veteran defensive line that Syracuse has had since Tim Doust, when he was coaching under Scott Schaefer. So Josh Black as one of your DNs. On the other side, Kingsley Jonathan. Backing up Josh Black is Cody Roscoe. Both seniors, Black a redshirt senior, Roscoe a senior. And then on the other defensive end spot, Kingsley Jonathan backed up by Caleb Okechukwu, and he is a redshirt sophomore. And then interior of the line, D-tackle McKinley Williams, redshirt seniors back, and Curtis Harper, a redshirt junior, is behind him as well. And Curtis Harper's got something to bring to the table as well. Linebackers, we have Mikel Jones. Makes sense for him to be your middle linebacker because being a quarterback of the defense, just if you know his personality and you know his fight, and he led the team in interceptions last year after Andre Sisco went down, Mikel Jones, huge advantage for Syracuse, and he's only a sophomore due to the fact of the COVID-free year, so he has 3 years if he wants them, which should scare everybody in the ACC and beyond. Linebacker on one side of him, Stephon Thompson, who is a freshman who came in and now gets another free year, and Leon Lowry, a freshman behind him. And then we have Marlowe Wax Jr., who you heard from with Mikel Jones today. He's back as a true freshman. He's got 4 more seasons, even though he played last season, which is, again, fantastic news for the Orange as we take a look at this upcoming year. And then Jeff Canton-Arku is right behind Marlowe Wax, who I think can step up and find his place. So ultimately, you got 3 starting linebackers, but technically, I think arguably you have 4 with Jeff Canton-Arku. And then backing up Mikel Jones is Anwar Sparrow, who is a freshman that is there at linebacker coming in for the Orange. At corner, we have Garrett Williams, who stepped in last year, and it was the first person to ever have a pick six, interception in return for a touchdown against Trevor Lawrence in college. Trevor Lawrence had never thrown. Think about how many games Trevor Lawrence playing in national championships, and Trevor Lawrence had never thrown a pick six in college until he threw one at home in Death Valley when Syracuse came to town and Garrett Williams picked him off. So shout out to my dude, Garrett Williams, redshirt freshman. And so now he has 4 years too, even though he's been out there for Syracuse. And behind him is Amon Greenwood, who stepped in last year, and Neil Nunn, who they're all redshirt freshmen, and all they're around the same height. Williams 6 foot, Neil Nunn 6 foot, and Amon Greenwood 5'10". The other corner, interesting move here. The other corner you'll see on your screen, and I'm describing to you for those that are here listening. Your other cornerback is rookie, true freshman, incoming 2021 commit and signee who's been on Wake Up Call, your man Deuce Chestnut, standing at 6 foot on the other side, and Adrian Cole behind him at 5'11". So, interesting move here that Garrett Williams has 2 guys backing him up, and Deuce Chestnut is trusted to be the starting corner on the other side. I'm going to be paying very close attention to number 20 to see what Deuce Chestnut does in this first game. And then because it's a 3-3-5, you have your rover, and then you have your 2 safeties. Jihad Carter playing safety with Eric Coley behind him, both with experience. And awesome news for Jihad Carter. He's a freshman again. And then Ben LaBrose is on the other side of it, and Jason Simmons. So some new opportunity here at one of the safety positions to see if Ben LaBrose or Jason Simmons is going to step things up here and show us. Ben is a freshman and Jason is a sophomore, and this is one of those key areas that you circle because neither one of these is household names for Syracuse yet when it comes to defensive backs. So this will be an interesting place to take a look at is the safety position. And does Eric Coley move to another piece, or what happens? I don't imagine Jihad Carter giving up his starting spot. So how does the rest of the safety room work out is up for grabs, I think, at this point, potentially. And then your rover, which Trill Williams played last year, and he rotated to different spots. I think that could happen with Rob Hanna as well, who's your starting rover, and he's a true freshman, along with Jihad Carter. Played last year, stepped in, did some great things, and got that free year. And Justin Barron is behind him at freshman. Justin, 6'4", which is the tallest of any one of the DBs on the depth chart for Syracuse. So look for him to get some time. If that talent can meet that height, look for Justin Barron out there. But great to see. You know, you lose Andre Sisco, Trill Williams, and Afatu Melifonwu. But you keep Garrett Williams, Jihad Carter, and Rob Hanna, and they're all considered freshmen. I mean, this has got to be Syracuse's best passing of the torch at the DB in the DB room that they've had maybe ever in the last 20 years. So shout out to those gentlemen, and awesome news for Syracuse fans and Syracuse, you know, the team itself. Special teams, taking a look at that. Andre Schmidt, no surprise here, redshirt junior, is back doing his thing as a place kicker. James Williams, who plays kicker and punter, and has been featured here on Wake Up Call. James Williams is backing him up at place kicker as a true freshman, but he will be the starting punter, and Colby Barker will be behind him. So James Williams coming in here as a true freshman and putting himself in the 2 deep at place kicker and starter at punter. So good for him. Excited to see that. And I was, hopeful for that. He was one of the early guys to agree to come to Syracuse, so I was hoping that he would get himself out there sooner than later, and I'm happy that he is. Long snapper Aaron Belinsky comes back. He does his job. Nobody talks about him. If he does his job, I'll make sure that I talk about him, because we don't say enough about these gentlemen that play the long snapper position, that it's incredibly important to the team. The junior is backed up by Joey Kelly or Mike Midkiff. Both of those guys redshirt freshmen. The holder is Mike Midkiff, Colby Baker behind him, or Barker behind him on that. And as I told you before, kick returner, punt returner belongs to Trevor Pena, but behind him at punt return is Courtney Jackson, and behind him on kick returns, Courtney Jackson or Cooper Lutz or Jarvion Howard. So keep in mind, at kick return, there's 4 guys on the list, and the backup to Trevor Pena in the kick return has 3 names: Courtney Jackson, Cooper Lutz, or Jarvion Howard. And all of them, different skill sets, and all of them, opportunities for that big break. So I'm excited to see what's going to come up there, taking a look at Syracuse's official depth chart going in to week 1 at Ohio. So that's what it looks like, and I'll be giving a breakdown to go probably even further than this, and I'm excited to bring this to you folks, and I thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So always happy to talk Syracuse football with you. And of course, this being week 1, we'll be talking all season long. And as you know, we've been talking about Syracuse football throughout the year. So always a good time to be here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets life. And of course, you know, when you listen into our archive as well at your leisure, we thank you for doing that by going to any one of the places that you can grab our show and listen in to the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So many thanks to each and every single one of you that connects with the show. However you connect with the show, we thank you so much for doing that on any one of our channels. And I appreciate it tremendously for those of you that go to Stitcher as well as Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and of course Podbean by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and downloading our show there. And of course by going to look up Wake Up Call DT. So either by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or searching Wake Up Call DT, you will find us out there where sports truly meets life. So many thanks for all of that. And with Syracuse interviews coming up here today that I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow, I'm going to jump right now early on here into the ingredients to success, proudly brought to you by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, where we will be tonight featuring the Liverpool girls swimming and diving team, who have a new pool to talk about with the facility upgrade that happened throughout Liverpool High School during this pandemic. I'm ecstatic to go see it, and I'm ecstatic to see these wonderful young women and their coaches come to Avicolli's today, and we invite you to join us at Avicolli's to support the community, support local business, and support the local high school and local kids here in Central New York by coming out tonight, Tuesday, August 31st at 6 p.m. to see the girls swimming and diving team of Liverpool High School for the Warriors and support them while you have some dinner at Avicolli's. And truly, it's a great night. We've had some fantastic events throughout this pandemic, and I want to thank all the coaches and student athletes, and I want to thank Ari Lieberman and as well as the superintendents and the just really everyone who has a deputy superintendent, everyone with Liverpool High School and the Liverpool School District that has helped to make these shows possible and safe during these very interesting and unique times, and to thank Avicolli's for being positive and safe as well. So thank you for all that you're doing at Avicolli's. With that being said, let's hop into the topic this week of the ingredients to success. And the topic for this week is going to be, and pardon me here, is apparently the draft wants to be talked about. So we're going to bring in the ingredients to success here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and speak on that here momentarily. This is actually our draft from the Florida League that we had. And we went over that last week and gave everybody a grade, which was very exciting for us to do. And we'll be grading out everybody from our Central New York drafts this week. So a little tease on what I'm going to be talking about in just a few minutes. But yes, the ingredients to success is now we have that up there for you here on your screen on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt to see the ingredients to success in these fantastic pieces of pizza. You have the meat lovers up here, and then this was my dish that I got at Avicolli's. I like to mix and match, and so the meat lovers, which is a good choice, and by far my favorite choice at Avicolli's is the one to the left of that, which is their margarita. I love the texture of the mozzarella, and the sauce and the cheese, just everything that they put on. It's just so good. Their margarita is really, really fantastic. So I get that all the time at Avicolli's, and you can go out and get it today, and you can come see the show while you have a slice or two or three at Avicolli's. So we'll see you out there tonight. The topic for the ingredients to success today is training your inner voice. The topic today is training your inner voice. And what I mean by that is that it is imperative that you train the voice that talks, that voice inside of you, right? Because we all have a voice inside of us that is either positive or negative or both. And you need to train that inner voice, because that inner voice is going to affect your day to day. So what are the ingredients to success for training your inner voice? Well, being positive. When things don't go your way, be positive. How do you speak to yourself? Are you mean to yourself? Do you call yourself ugly? Do you call yourself stupid? Do you call yourself names other people call you? Training your inner voice. What you call yourself is what you'll hear in that voice inside of you. And I'm not talking about schizophrenia. I'm talking about everybody has a voice inside of them. What does that voice say? Does that voice speak poison, or does that voice speak truth? Does your voice speak poison, or does your voice speak truth? What's it saying? You have to train your inner voice. How do you train your inner voice? You surround yourself with positive people. You stay away from negative things, right? Reading tabloids and smut and all that stuff, that's not going to make you, it's going to make your inner voice kind of judge, right? You don't want to do that. So, we are sponges. They say children are sponges. No, people are sponges in general. Not just when you're a child, but all the time. We are sponges. What you ingest on television, what you ingest in the movie theater, what you ingest in conversation, what you ingest in what you read takes a big part of your life. So, when you train your inner voice, you have to understand that what you're bringing in is going to affect you. What you are allowing inside of you is going to affect you. I dated somebody who used to watch Real Housewives of literally every city in America. And right before we would go to bed, we would be watching this thing. And I would start to get stressed. I would get anxious. And I was like, why am I getting anxious? This isn't my fight. This is a stupid show. They're fighting over stupid things. Why is this? But it was because I was ingesting it. I was hearing people yelling and screaming at each other before I went to bed. And that energy was coming through the TV onto me. It was just seeing people fight and 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 fight. So training your inner voice, you have to be careful about what you ingest, what you take into your life. Stay away from people that are constantly berating and negatively, not people that are trying to help you, but people that have hate speech. Stay away from that. One of my good friends said very recently, if you don't want to be affected by all the negative things that people say about you on social media, don't go looking for it. Don't go reading it. Do you think that Kim Kardashian goes through all of her mentions? I would hope not. You think Kanye West? I would hope not. You think any president? I would hope not. Because more than likely, somebody's going to say something negative. Tim Tebow, somebody's going to say something negative. And so you really can't cycle through that stuff. So it's what you ingest. It's the time that you spend. It's not letting people who aren't in your inner circle matter. That doesn't mean that don't learn something from somebody, and it doesn't mean you can't learn from a stranger. It means just be cognizant of the fact that your inner voice is going to be affected by those that surround you. So if you're surrounded by negativity, you're going to be negative. If you allow that constant now, some of us can't change who our mom is and who our dad is and who our guardians are for a certain amount of time of our life, right? Until we go to college or we turn 16 or whatever. So sometimes you come home and you get that, but then you have to have an outlet. Go to church, go take a walk. Play with the dog, play with the cat. Sing, listen to music, call your friends, draw. Do something that takes you away from the negativity. Because when you're training your inner voice, it is going to... Think about it like this. Your inner voice is like a microphone, okay? So your inner voice is a microphone. The microphone's sitting in a room and it's recording. It's recording everything that's in the room. So if your dad comes in the room and he's mean to you, or your mom comes in the room and she's mean to you, or, this person on social media, or this person on YouTube, it's taking all of that noise and it's downloading all of it into the microphone. And then you have to sift through it and figure out, okay, what are some things I need to work on? Where do I need to get better? And where are people just being mean? And that takes time, right? Because some people can't take constructive criticism. Some people think constructive and destructive is all the same criticism. Some people can take constructive criticism. Some people feed on destructive criticism. Some people don't know that they're doing anything wrong and they're oblivious, and some people just think that they're God. So you have to decipher through things and say to yourself, is this person telling me, hey, Dan, maybe try this because this isn't working? Are they saying that to be a jerk? Are they saying that because they love me? And they see that I've been going down the same path 100 times and it's not working. So when you're training your inner voice, you have to understand it is a microphone and it's downloading everything to your computer. Okay? Your computer inside you is downloading all this information through the mic. So you have to be very, very focused on what is coming into your room and what voices are hitting your microphone. Because when you train your inner voice, you have to seek positivity. You have to seek constructive criticism. And you don't talk down to yourself. Dan, you're late, you stupid blankety blank blank. No. Hey, Dan, you weren't on time today. Why? What could I have done that would have made me on time? How can I be better next time? Right? You turn a negative into a positive. The negative is that I was late, and that doesn't change. I was late. I can't change the fact it was at 10:30 and I showed up at 10:35. But am I going to focus on, I was late, I'm such an idiot, I'm so stupid. Am I going to speak that language to myself? Or am I going to say, Dan, you were late, you got there 5 minutes late, what could you have done to be better? And then you be better next time. Training your inner voice to speak positively to you even when negative things happen. Somebody breaks up with you. You don't sit there and say, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm ridiculous, nobody loves me. No. It didn't work out. What could I have done to be better? What could they have done to be better? Grand scheme of things, did this person have more positives than negatives? Is this somebody I was going to marry? You leave a job and you're working a new job and you love it, but it's not paying as much as the old job. Well, how do I know this is the right job? Talk yourself through it. That inner voice you're constantly training, the inner voice is affected by everything you bring in and everything you say to yourself. Your inner voice needs to be positive. The world will give you enough negativity. Your inner voice has to speak positivity. Even in the darkest and worst of times, your inner voice has to say, yeah, you know what? We've met 100 crazy people in dating, but somebody's going to be good. That comma, but somebody's going to be good, that is taking a negative, turning it into a positive. Yeah, this job didn't work out, but the next one will. Yeah, my team didn't win the championship this year, but I still love them. Yeah, my mom and I had a tough conversation, but I'm happy she's alive to talk to. When you spin negatives into positives, when you give hope to your future, even when your present may look bleak or your past looks different than what you wanted it to, when you speak positivity into your life, your inner voice starts to speak positivity back to you, and before you know it, you're not having to tell yourself over and over again to be positive because you've done that so many times that the positivity is now the dominant trait. So if you don't speak positively to yourself and you don't think positively, then that is a telltale sign that you are not taking enough time to train your inner voice to be positive and to be kind. See what you're downloading. Look at what voices you're letting in. See how you're speaking to yourself. And when you need to make the change, make it. Because life is way too short, and you are not your own punching bag. Last time I checked, when you hit a person, candy didn't come out. So stop treating yourself like a piñata. With that being said, I want to thank all my guests today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Airon Servais, Mikel Jones, and Marlowe Wax Jr. of Syracuse Football. I want to thank Avicolli's for the ingredients to success, and I want to thank you for joining us on the show, and a big thanks to all of our fantastic partners in Central and Upstate New York. Much love and appreciation to Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Millhouse Market, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicolli's, Honda City of Liverpool, PB&J's Lunchbox, Mother's Cupboard, Progressive Dental, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Head to Ma and Pa's Popcorn and anywhere in the country right now and use the promo code DT20 to get 20% off any day of the week. Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com, promo code DT20, DT20 for 20% off your online order today. Thank you so much for everybody who's ordered. And with that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. You stay safe. We'll continue to preview Syracuse football all week long as we are set for week 1. I will break down Ohio as well, so we'll be talking about that. And, of course, we'll have more video Q&As with myself and head coach Dino Babers, as well as myself and the players, including Kingsley Jonathan and Chris Elmore. I'll talk with you soon. In the meantime, God bless, no stress, do your best. And I hope you have a great day.